Welcome back to Kickin' in here with Mitch. Hey man, shout out to my sister with the cold shirt. Holla at her. I'm gonna give you some information on it in a little bit. Hey, without further ado, let's get into
You've got mail.
what the heck is mail always right on time. Let's see what we have.
VD.
Holy smoke! Look at that. That's pretty dope. Well. What do we have here? Check that out, ladies and gentlemen. Wolverine. Half adamantium skeleton, half human skin. Looks like he's been burnt to death. Blood and everything. Bloody claws. Bloody body. Bloody bones. Man. Check that out. That is a thing of beauty. Mad shout out to JA Custom Toys. This guy has always got my back. Mad shout out, Jose. Appreciate you for all that you do for me and always coming through for things that come in my mind to come to actually my collection. Yeah, this guy's helped me out a lot. Not everything up there, but he's had a lot of processes in my collection. I want to give him a mad shout out. Thanks again, brother. Hey, we'll make sure to send you some information, everybody, just in case you're interested in ever getting a custom. Feel free to shout out to them, or you can always leave a comment in the channel or on this episode, and I'll make sure to try to help you to get what you need for your collection. Man, that's amazing. These lockers right here, got to put this one together. The other ones, as you can see, they came together. They're not a custom or anything, guys, but I did have a custom NWO made for my wrestling collection. I'm an NWO fan. Looks like NWO has been in the house to take care of business. So, yeah, mad shout out. Now let's get back to our regular scheduled program.
Hey, it's Lou. Yo, what's up? It's Jamie Kennedy.
My name's Christina Lee.
I'm Steve Ulrich.
This is Marianne Hagan. I'm Julia Lewis.
Hey, everybody, this is John Schneider.
And
I'm Kicking It with Mitch.
Kicking it with
I'm kicking it with Mitch.
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 Hey yo, it's Kicking It with Mitch.
Hey, welcome back. I'm still a little excited about this custom. Hey, who wouldn't be excited to add a new Wolverine to the arsenal? But today's episode isn't about Wolverine. It definitely is about Star Wars versus Star Trek. Now, a lot of people are Trekkies, and then you've got some people that are actually Star Wars. So we'll start with Star Trek. Excellent TV series. It lasted quite a bit of time. This translated into motion pictures that went as far as 7 to 8 in their original run, I want to say. Up to part 4. I do believe in part 5 with Captain Kirk and Spot, Bones, Scotty, and all those guys, Tenahura, and just basically traveling all over the world trying to conquer, and even sometimes having to face the wrath of Khan or even those Klingons. Then those translated into Star Trek The Next Generation, where that built on quite a few movies with Picard and his number one, so to speak, and Geordi and Data and all of what they did, and all their adventures. And then those movies spawned a new generation series of Star Trek movies, of which they're working on a part 4 for the newer generation movies, for the reboots, so to speak, as they call it. But Star Trek overall has always been phenomenal. It's always been something fun to watch, very entertaining. Their adventures are like no other, because you never know what they're going to get into from one movie, from one episode on a TV series to the next. It spawned so many spin-offs, the Picard show and Deep Space Nine, and it's so many shows that it spawned off. So I have a lot of respect for Star Trek, their fans, the cast, the people who have taken the time to bring these adventures to our television set, our movie theaters. Then on the other hand, we have Star Wars. This all started with an episode 4 and has spawned into so many. Star Wars, gives us the adventures of Jedis, the Sith, the Republic, and all of the politics of it. Gives us the stories of, Yoda, the Wookiees, those cute little fluffy little bears, the Ewoks. You got Han Solo, Princess Leia, Luke, Obi-Wan Kenobi, R2-D2, CP3O, the Death Star, the Emperor.
Come to the dark side, Luke.
That's my greatest impersonation of it. Gotta love that character though. Its newer generation has spawned it to television. They've had a lot of animated series success, something of which Star Trek tried but wasn't very successful, but Star Wars was. So, that's one difference. TV series, they've had a lot on the streaming service recently to come. Mandalorian is one that's a great one. You've had the Book of Boba Fett. You've had Acolyte recently just released. We've also had Andor. You've had a lot of them. Obi-Wan Kenobi had its own series. Ahsoka, they've had their own series. So you've had quite a bit. Who could ever forget about this little cute, little fluffy, little, they call him Baby Yoda. Yeah. So, who could ever forget about that? Mm-hmm. But I guess in, which one do you prefer, or as we say, versus, who would you take? Now that's up to you on who you like, but I'm going to definitely say that, and this is really close. This is really extremely close. I'm going to give it I'm going with Star Wars. It was close to being a draw, though. Very close. And the reason why I say close, because, you have to take in consideration all of the wonderful TV series that Star Trek has had success with. Star Wars is just barely getting to that point. You have to take in consideration that Star Wars had a lot of success in the animated field. Star Trek did not. Their movies, I think, are even. So that's why it was close to a draw. But when I go to turn on something and I'm thinking Star Trek or Star Wars, I normally lean towards the dark side of the Force. Yeah, I normally lean towards those guys. And how can we forget about Darth Maul? Ha, great movie, great action set piece. Guys, Ray Park's an awesome guy to meet, man. So I'm going to give it to Star Wars. But definitely that's something that you would want to look into yourself and kind of dig a little bit deep. Our next verses is going to be, and we're going to do some bonus verses in here. Our next one's going to be Real Steel versus Over the Top. Now, both these movies are ironically similar to same, but in different settings, definitely, and has a different premise. With Real Steel, you have a gentleman that used to fight the robots himself until he retired, just didn't quite cut the mustard, so to speak, didn't win. But then regalvanizes himself through a child who has the same energy, same feel for it, but brings a different energy, a different tone, and brings him out of retirement to actually fight the robot. In that particular movie, they fight to a draw of which his robot is an old-fashioned model versus a supermodel robot, but they end up fighting to a point where we want to see a sequel. We want to see what happens on the next level when given the proper equipment and given the proper everything, how it would come out. On the other hand, you got Over the Top. Yeah, Sylvester Stallone, this was a good one in my opinion. Some people didn't care for it, but I thought it was good. You've got a guy that was a trucker that had to take care of business and did not have a chance to grow up with his child. And in trying to grow up and rekindle a relationship with his child, they go through the tribulations, and then the child learns that, hey, his father does a little arm wrestling during the course of driving from truck stop to truck stop. Now, everybody knows who the champ is, which is Ball Hurley, but Ball Hurley's been trying to find Lincoln Hawk for quite some time, and Hawk's been ducking him. Now comes the battle. There's an actual arm wrestling competition, and they have to go to compete through the world's best arm wrestlers, of which the championship match gets down to Paul Hurley, and you guessed it, Lincoln Hawk. And in this particular matchup, they go back and forth to a point where both hands have to be tied, and as it goes in the theme of the movie, and actually the name of the movie called Over the Top, which this is a move into which Lincoln Hawk does to actually prevails him to win a lot of his matches. He overcomes, becomes a champion, wins the competition, wins everybody's respect, Ball Hurley's respect, and ultimately, gets his child's respect. And we never got a sequel to it, but that would have been nice to see what would have happened if they continued. But I ask you, in a versus, what are you taking? Real Steel or Over the Top? Now this is kind of close for me because Hugh Jackman and Real Steel was absolutely amazing. And I have been thirsty for an additional part 2, maybe part 3. Over the Top, I love to go back and watch it. I enjoy watching it every single time. Soundtrack was excellent. Filmography was great. It was a good movie. I loved it. So if I'm going back to watch something, I'm going Over the Top. But if I'm picking a versus, I'm going to go Real Steel because I still want more. So there you have it. Real Steel is what I'm going with. And my next versus would be Jason versus Michael Myers. Now, this is going to kind of be close because they're similar in style. They both wear a mask, they don't say anything, and they brutally kill you. But, their childhoods, they both suffered from child trauma. One was drowned, and one was neglected. Neglected so much that he went on a killing spree, starting with his sister. The other one was neglected as well, slightly, drowned, came back after his mother was dead, and went on a killing spree for many, many years to come. To the point where no one wants to go camping anymore. No one wants to go. And everybody knows his theme song. Now, Michael Myers, on the other hand, he went to jail for killing his sister. After killing his sister, he broke out of jail. After breaking out of jail, he went back to his hometown and started to kill his family members. Crazy, right? Michael Myers is a nut. This spawned many, way too many episodes, and we still got Michael Myers and Jason to this day. So, if I'm picking someone, and this is going to shock you, I've got to go with Jason. Jason's pretty brutal. His kills are even more brutal. Michael Myers, yeah, he can really get nasty and pretty brutal himself. But Jason, when you bend a sheriff over in half, break their back, when you rip a person's head off, hell, when you knock a person's head off in a boxing match, this guy he's relentless. He just looks at you. So I'm going Jason in this particular versus. And I'm not a Jason fan, but I gotta give it to him. He's pretty nasty. Our next versus would be, and because he won, I guess maybe that's why he's in this particular topic, Freddy versus Jason. I guess it's pretty crazy, huh? We already talked about Jason's backstory, so let's just go a little bit on Fred Krueger. Fred Krueger was a serial killer before he became Freddy. He'd done so much to people's children, it was ridiculous, to the point that he was burned to death. Made a deal, came back in people's dreams, and no one's been able to sleep since. Now, many years, we had a movie, a versus movie, yes. And some people say Jason won, some people say Freddy won. But let's really look at that. Who won? I feel in the dream world, no joke, no even competition, Jason didn't win. But the real world is when it got interesting. And Freddy held his own. It was great. 15 rounds of boxing. At the end of the fight, Freddy's got the advantage. Then two people jump in, two kids, and the advantage did not, so to speak, switch, but gave Jason just enough time to get a breath of fresh air and get back on his feet for recovery purposes. They both drowned, they both supposedly died, but at the end of the movie, Jason's holding Freddy's head because it was cut off by that human girl. Jason didn't do that. Jason couldn't even handle it. He couldn't even get that close to him. Jason's holding the head as a trophy piece. Freddy winks. We never get a part 2, of which should have been Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from Evil Dead. But we never got that, but we did see it in comics, and it was very interesting. But back to the topic at hand. Who won? Who would win? No surprise here. I'm going with Fred Krueger. Yeah, Fred. All day, baby. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of debates from that. Hey, I'm expecting to hear something from you, Ronnie Edge. But I'm going Freddy Krueger all day for that one. And then I have a question for the most scariest sci-fi monster, of which we only have 2 we're going with. We're going with the alien from the Aliens movies, and we're going with the Quiet Place monster, which I don't quite have a label for yet. Who would win? On one hand, they're both pretty devastating, and no human can survive when they're right in front of them or away from them. Can't get away from them either. But let's go with their weaknesses. What is the alien's weakness besides getting burnt up? Fire. I think that's the only thing that stops them. But fire doesn't stop the alien from Quiet Place at all. Their weakness is noise. So if you got enough aliens and can stop the fire, then the aliens don't have a problem. You got a lot of noise. The other aliens from Quiet Place have no chance. So as long as some type of noise can be provided, but the aliens ain't that smart, are they? I don't know. We haven't found out yet. But they're not that dumb either. So I guess I'll give it a draw for now, because you would have to need some type of help to beat the Quiet Place aliens as far as noise. And the Quiet Place aliens ain't going to produce no fire, so they would need some help too. So with a little bit of assistance, then I guess I would say the Quiet Place people, or alien I should say, would lose first. But if it's a one-on-one, I'll give it a draw. But they definitely by far are the two scariest. Now if you could think of someone scarier that you could come across that's an alien monster, and the predator does not count because they can be killed, please comment and let me know. And lastly, last verses to close out this episode. X-Files versus, Fringe. These two shows have got so much in similarity, but so much separates them. But which one is better for you? Which one? And this is taking you way back. Maybe you want to queue up the old streaming service and watch them both and then come back to it. But on one hand, you've got a crazy doctor, a young lady that's got a lot going on that we don't find out to, and very key to the series the whole time, but we never knew. And we got a special guest appearance from Spock. A lot of LSD going. A lot of crazy science experiments and crazy situations happening. Yeah, watch that first episode of Fringe. I guarantee you keep watching. And then on the other hand, you've got the X-Files, where you never know what's going to happen from one episode to the next. I mean, Scully and Mulder, they had their hands full. They had their hands so full, they had motion pictures of 1 and 2 and a possible 3, maybe even a reboot with Scully coming back? Come on now. Hey, this is simple, but it can be very interesting. But if I'm going versus with these two, I'm taking X-Files. Just a little bit more intriguing than the other one. Just a little bit. Hey, thanks for kicking in here with Mitch. So glad you could join. This was our verses. Not to mention we got to unveil a new custom, and I love sharing that with you guys. Definitely going to see you again, of course, with another episode. If you're new to the channel, do us a favor. It's small to you, but it's big to us. Hit that subscribe. Hit the notification so you'll know when an episode drops. Hit the comments. Talk to us. Let us know what you want to see. If I'm doing something that you don't like, you let me know. I'll correct it next episode. And if it's something you want us to put on and want me to talk about, I'm on it. Just let me know. Hey, it was good talking to you guys. You take care. Hey, if you're interested in getting one of these, my sister makes them. It's her logo. It's what she does. And it's a beautiful shirt. Drop a comment in the comment section, and we'll get you taken care of. You can go straight through our channel to get you one of these wonderful shirts made by my sister. And mad props to you, Luke.